Welcome to Advanced Data Analysis 2 with me, Erik Erhardt, Professor of Statistics at the University of New Mexico. In this video, I'll help you get started with how to watch these videos to get the most out of them the first time through. So here we are at the course website. The website is up here, but if you search for my name and go under Teaching to ADA2, that's the link right there. So I'm going to scroll down. We have some goals in the syllabus and so on. You want to make sure you install all the software you'll need for this semester before class starts. We have a weekly structure where we will be reading chapters from lecture notes that I've written, watching these videos, and then taking a quiz each Tuesday before class. So you'll need to have that all that done before class starts on Tuesday so that you are ready in class on Tuesday to start activities. So each day, Tuesday and Thursday, we'll be doing in-class activities that for the most part will be able to be finished in class and submitted to UNM Learn to be evaluated by a TA within 1 week. Thursday, we're going to change something this semester that from last semester. We're going to start our homework in class on Thursday so that you'll have a chance to struggle with that homework in class but get most of your questions answered before going home and finishing the analysis and wrapping up the write-up. After class on Thursday, your homework will be due 1 week later, and this year my plan is to have most assignments be common for all of you, and then using CrowdGrader, as we did last semester, you'll grade each other's assignments, receive that feedback from others, and give your own feedback to others, and then you'll have some time after that to review each other's comments and so on. So here is the YouTube playlist where this video was probably found. Here's the UNM Learn, and here are all the lecture notes. So we have 18 chapters of lecture notes for this semester. It's over 500 pages. You can imagine it's taken me a long time to write all of that material. But there's a lot in here. Everything from last semester basically gets us ready for what to do in this semester. And the first 7 chapters basically all lead to the same target, which is how do you develop a multiple regression model that has both continuous variables and categorical variables, and fit a model, know that your model fits well, perform many types of diagnostics to assure model fit, interpret the model, and be able to explain the model results to your peers and be able to write that up for publication. Beyond that, we've got polynomial regression, which is just a simple extension from the previous model, and performing model selection. All right, so those first 10 chapters are basically all multiple regression. That's the first half of class. If this is where most of the power comes from in this class, in my opinion. Logistic regression will be an extension of what we did last semester. We'll focus more on model fit, making predictions and so on. And then the rest of the chapter or semester is on multivariate methods. What happens when you have variables, or rather a response with more than one variable. And so that's where principal components comes in, cluster analysis, and so on. And time, if we have enough time, we'll also spend more detail on data cleaning and writing code to automate those procedures. In front of each chapter, we've got the PDF for the chapter, and we also have R, which is all the R code in that chapter. And below here, I may end up reorganizing this, but here's chapter 1. Here's the data sets in that chapter. So if I click on the RocketDAT file, for example, there's a data set that we'll use in chapter 1. All right, so there's Chapter 1 PDF. I already have it open in another window. And here's the R code for this. All right, so let me go over to the notes. This won't be a lecture on this chapter. I'm just going to show you basically what you're going to see throughout the semester. So each lecture I'm going to break each chapter up into a number of sections. I'm going to try to make smaller sections so that it's easier for you to navigate, and the descriptions will key you in on what section numbers and what material each lecture has. I'm going to scroll down here until I get to a chunk of R code. Here's the first chunk of R code. This is actually all in the comment, which we'll see in a moment. But what I recommend throughout each lecture is to go to the website, open up the R code for that chapter, and save it. I'm going to just press Control S to save to your hard drive in a place for your ADA2 notes. One thing I'm going to point out right away is that notice that Windows, in my case, and this happens on Macs as well, is going to try to append an additional file extension to the file name. This drives me mad. You want to delete that right away. .txt is not what we want. We want it to be .r. And I'll let you know that I maintain a very clean desktop. I have nothing on my desktop. And I'm just going to save this file there because afterwards I'm going to delete this. Okay, but save this in a place appropriate for you. That's okay. I'll press save here. Okay, so it downloaded it. I'm going to open up the desktop folder. Okay, so here is my desktop, users Erik desktop. All right, and the file's over here on the right. Now, many of you, because this is the default setting under Windows and on a Macintosh, have the file extensions, the .r here, hidden. And it's my belief that that you are smart enough to have that file extension be shown, and you'll have more information and make better decisions if it is. So under Windows, and there's a similar procedure on a Mac, if you go to Tools and Folder Options and View, there's a bunch of settings here. And among those settings are, let's see, I gotta scroll through and find this now. Hidden files, okay. Hide extensions of known file types. So you probably have this box checked. And if I'm going to check it momentarily, okay? And I'll say okay. And of course .r is not really a known file extension. Let's see. Where do I want to show a bunch of files? If I, give me a second here, bring up ADA2 content, go to my notes folders. Okay, so here under notes I've got all these PDF files. I've got the icon, and notice it says ADA2 notes chapter 01. Over here it says Adobe Acrobat, but it doesn't say .pdf. So if I go back to that tool, folder options, view, hide, and uncheck the hide extensions and say okay. Now I've got .pdf. This is important because your computer will open files in an automatic way depending on what the file extension is. And sometimes you will not know what the file extension is, and it will behave in a way that you don't expect. So always have that visible. All right, once you've got that R file downloaded, go ahead and start RStudio. And open. So most of you have used RStudio before. This is the front screen. I color my background black. The default is white. This is the console window. I'm going to open here and go to my desktop and open this R file and click open. And that above is going to open up the script. So there's 4 main areas in RStudio. There's the script editing location in the top left corner. In the bottom left, there's the console window where you type commands, such as version. What's the version of R that I'm using? In the upper right-hand corner, and by the way, I've moved some of my tabs around. I think all I've done is move my help tab from the bottom to the top. So we've got environment where variables are stored. For example, if in the console I type x equals 3, in my environment there's a variable called x and it equals 3. And notice it's under a variable type called values. If I do y equals a list, which is numbers 1, 2, and 3, that's also values. Let's see, I can do z is a matrix of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and the number of rows is 2. Now I've got data, which is z, and if we have, say, df is a data frame, which includes, I'm not sure this is going to work because it's going to be different lengths. Let's see, data frame is, let's do A is 3 numbers, 1, 2, and 3. B is also 3 numbers, 5, 6, and 7. That's plenty. That also goes under data. All right. It has my history, and so there's a bunch of extra junk here, but here are the commands version and downwards, which are the commands I've just run. And then help is where I get help. So for example, I used a command called matrix. So in the bottom left-hand corner, if I do $matrix and press enter, I've got help on the matrices up top. All right, in the bottom window, I've got files, which I almost never go to, plots, where plots will appear. For example, plot the numbers about 1 through 5, and the numbers 7 down to 2, 3. And there's my plot. 1 to 5 on the x-axis, 7 down to 3 on the y-axis. Then I've got packages where all the packages live that R uses, and for example, one that we will use a lot is ggplot2, and in the bottom left-hand corner, when I do library ggplot2 and press enter, we'll see that this box in the bottom right-hand corner becomes checked. A reminder that you need to spell things correctly. All right, and there is the check box. Okay, so here is my recommendation for watching these notes. I'll be talking through the lecture notes just as I would be giving a lecture in class, but I'll be doing it on my computer instead. And what I recommend is, as I come to code, so let's just find where this is. So this bit of code here, if I go to R, is these first lines. And notice that they all have these double pound signs. These are in a comment. Okay, so these aren't really intended to be executed. So I'm going to scroll down to the next set of code, and that is this turkey example. So notice I start my examples with 4 pound signs and then example. So I'm going to go over to the R and scroll down a little bit, and there is the 4 pound signs with example turkey. Okay, and what I recommend is running the code as I'm going through it in the lecture notes. Make sure that every line runs. After all, when I compile the lecture notes, all the code runs and the output appears in my notes. So I know every line works, at least on my computer. And you want to make sure it works on yours. So if I press Control-Enter, oh, you do all know the shortcut keys, right? Go to Help, Keyboard Shortcuts. It will bring up this screen. And there's lots of options here. If you do Control and the different numbers, you'll jump between the different windows in RStudio. Those are really handy. Execute is really handy. The Control-Enter here Okay, we'll run the lines of code, and that's the primary one that I'm going to use. Also, Control L clears the console. All right, so if I maybe press Escape, I'm going to press Control L down here, and I'm going to clear the console. I'm going to press Control 1, and that's going to jump up here to the script. Control 1. You can see the cursor jump down here. Just for the heck of it, Control 2 will jump down to the console. You can see that jump there. My cat is jumping across my computer. Okay. If I press Control 3, it jumps maybe over to the Help window, and then Control 4 is History, Control 5 is the Files, and so on. Control 6 is Plots, Control 7 is Packages, Control 8 is Environment, Control 9 doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, but the point is, primarily Control 1 and 2, you can jump, you can see my cursor jumping up and down between those two windows. All right, so once you're on a line of code, press Control Enter, press Control Enter. We're going to read that data set in, we're going to look at the structure, there's the output, and then press Enter on Turkey, and it puts the output down there. So just to illustrate, if I go back to the notes, I'm just ran these lines of code, and maybe I'll put this down there, and there's the bottom of my R window. Scroll that up. You can see these structure lines right here are the same as what you see below. So you want everything to match. Furthermore, you want to understand everything that happens. So my recommendation is pause the video when, as I'm running lines, or as I'm reading off the notes and pointing out the things that I feel are important. And if there's something that doesn't make sense, for example, I just ran 3 lines of code. The output are all down here. And you can see that the 3 lines of output in white all have the same string of numbers. I just showed 3 different ways to output the same column from the turkey data frame, either by $age, calling it out by the column name, indicating that it's column 1 using the index square brackets, or by naming the variable in the column using the index brackets. Okay? And my recommendation is if you come across something and you don't understand it, spend a little time, but if you feel stuck, make a note. And so my way of typically making notes would be to just put something like XXX or some symbol that is going to be unique to I don't understand. It could even be IDU, I don't understand. Something like that. And then come back to those tomorrow, see if you understand, bring those to a friend, come to my office hours, come to my teaching assistant's office hours. And when you come to office hours, then you can just press Control F to search, Shift XXX, and oh, this line is the thing I didn't understand. And maybe you even put a note like, I don't know, how's indexing work? Something like that. Okay, so you have some sort of question there that helps remind you of what felt confusing. All right, and that's one way I recommend taking notes. Always save this file, into your ADA2 directory or wherever you're keeping track of your materials this semester. I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give those suggestions about watching these videos. If you find that I'm talking slowly, in the bottom right-hand corner of the YouTube video, you can go to the gear and look at the settings and the play speed and increase the speed up to 1.5 times or something. Then all the gaps in my talking when I'm thinking of what to say will shorten, and you'll fly through much of the content that way, and then you can always go back and listen to the things that felt like it was too fast. I do recommend pausing the video whenever you whenever you need to, and spend time within R and run those lines and understand why the output is the way it is. Take those notes, and also if you have the PDFs on your computer, you can always mark these up, right? You can put in comments, like where you understand stuff, you know. Okay, so I just clicked a comment there. Use this for something important later. Okay, that's sort of your comment to yourself. That's one way of making comments. I think you can also type right in here. You could use the typewriter, for example. Here's my notes right here. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can use these notes. The last comment I'll make before signing off of this video is I have all of these notes broken up. Excuse me, sorry, I'm jumping up and down. I have all these notes broken out by chapter because it will probably work better for you to download them one chapter at a time in case I make changes to later chapters before I cover them. So I also have them down here for the entire book in one document. Okay, it's only 6 megabytes large, it's not that big. But I recommend doing chapter by chapter so that you can take notes right in the PDFs if that's the way you like to do things. And it's unlikely that I'm going to change a PDF, perhaps each time before you watch a video, download the most recent version and then take notes into that version. And then at the end of the semester, if you wanted to join them all together, you could use a PDF tool like Adobe Acrobat to create a PDF from files by combining them into a single PDF. And then you could join all of your individual chapter notes into one book if that's what you wanted to do. All right, so I'm looking really, that's not how that sentence goes. I'm really looking forward to this semester. It's going to be the first time I've flipped the second semester of Advanced Data Analysis 2. And I think that we're going to have a really fun time. Feedback from last semester suggested that we should have a poster session this semester, just as we did last semester. I felt really proud of all of you, my students, for the presentations you gave the last week of last semester. I think made a really good impression inside the department, and yeah, I feel really good about that. So, and I liked seeing all the great work that everyone did. So, next video will be on Chapter 1, where we will review last semester.